Welcome to the video about weighted average. For this video, you are going to learn how to determine the weighted average of a data set. Before we get started, I want you to remember how to find the mean of a data set. So remember that there are a couple of steps. The first step is to get a total for your data set. So we are going to add all the numbers. Then we're going to divide that by the number of data pieces. Okay, so I'm going to use my calculator to make sure that I don't make any mistakes. And it's also a good idea to add it a couple of times just to make sure you don't make a mistake. It's very easy to do when you're adding multiple numbers like this. Okay, I got 112. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. So I'm dividing those. And that equals 14. And a good rule of thumb is to make sure that the answer you get for your mean or average is a number that would fall kind of in the middle of all of your data, because it is an average of everything. So today we are going to learn how to find a weighted average. This is a little bit different. It's the same idea, but we're going to have a little bit more information to work with. So sometimes our data values hold more importance or weight than others within the set. So for example, competitors in a cooking competition are scored in two categories: taste and presentation. So I'm going to put a T for taste, P for presentation. The taste category has a higher importance. It's worth 60% of your overall score, while presentation is worth 40% of the overall score. In this scenario, the data values do not carry the same or equal value, so a weighted average can be used to find your overall score. The points you get for your taste are more important than the points you get for your presentation. So I'm going to show you how to calculate that. Here's another example. In a small country club, 70% of the members are men, 30% are women. So 70 are men. I'm going to double underline, 30% are women. If the average age of the men is 50, average age of the women is 40, what is the average age of all the members? So let's first decide what are our different categories. Okay, so we have men and we have women. The men represent 70%, and there are 50 total. Women represent 30%, and there are 40 total. Okay, so here's the equation we're going to use right here. We're going to take their weight, meaning their percentage, and we're going to multiply that by the number. There's 50 of them. Then we're going to add that to the women's percentage and multiply that by how many there are. Okay. Remember that when you are using percentages, that really means 70 out of 100. So the way that we need to calculate 70% is 70 out of 100, which is also 70 hundredths. So in the calculator, you're going to put 0.70 times 50 and 0.30 times 40. So I'm going to do that on my calculator off to the side. 0.70 times 50 is 35. And I'm almost out of space. Sorry about that. 0.30 times 40 is 12. Therefore, we would add those together, 35 and 12. And that is 47. Therefore, the average age of all of the members is 47 years old. Remember that your average should be between your numbers. So 47 is definitely between 50 and 40, so that makes sense. And it's a little closer to 50 because there are more men at the country club, so it's going to weigh higher towards men. Okay, let's try practice problem number 1. This one is a bit different because this is not percentages. Okay, so we're going to do this slightly different, but if you want to try it, you could pause the video and give it a try. At a car dealership, there are a total of 100 vehicles in the parking lot. There are 30 cars with an average length of 9 feet. So this is like in the last one, our categories, okay, are 9 feet instead of men. And there are 70 vehicles with an average of length of 12. So instead of women, 12. So the categories are 9 feet, and there's 30 of them, and 12 feet. And there are 70 of them. Total, that's 100. Okay, so this is what we're going to be dividing by, because since this is not a percentage, we have to divide at the end to remember that you divide by how many items there are. So for this one, we are going to add 9 times 30 plus 12 times 70. After we do that, we will divide by 100 because there are 100 cars. So 9 times 30 is 270. 12 times 70 is 840. Let me add that up. 270 plus 840. I'm going to actually, I'll squeeze it in right here, is 1,110. And I will divide that by 100. And that gives me a final answer of 11.1. And that means that my average vehicle has a length of 11.1. Again, is that number between our categories 9 and 12? Yes, it is, so that makes sense. And again, it's going to be closer to the 12-foot range because more of the cars are that length. So this right here would be the answer to the average length of vehicles in the parking lot. Okay, here's practice problem 2. This one is similar to the country club problem because we do have percentages. So pause this video and see if you can figure it out. So this says the final grade in a math class is based on a weighted average of the quizzes, unit tests, and semester tests. There's our categories. So we have quizzes, unit test, and semester test. The quizzes are worth 50%. The unit tests are worth 25%. And the semester test is worth 25%. Celine averaged a grade of 93 on her quizzes, 90 on her tests, and a 98 on her semester test. What is Celine's final grade in the math class? So we're going to do the same process. We're going to take our 3 things this time, and we're going to multiply them and then add our final numbers together. So remember 50% is 0.50, and we'll multiply that by 93. Then we'll have 0.25 times 90, and then we will have 0.25 times 98. Okay, so 0.50 times 93, she will get 46.5 points for that. 0.25 times 90, she gets 22.5 points for that. And 0.25 times 98, she gets 24.5 points for that. So now we're going to add up and get our total. Because this is percentages, we've already divided by 100 to go from our percent to what we are calculating. So all we have to do now is add up. And her total grade in her math class is 93.5. So before you go, make sure you feel like you can determine a weighted average of a data set. If not, you can watch this video again. Thank you for being here today.